Hey everybody, it's Emily here at the DAE. Another day. Gonna have some fun today. Um, I am going to make a drawing game in Scratch, and I'm pretty excited because it's really fun. And it basically utilizes the pen tool, which is really, really awesome. You can create all sorts of stuff. Um, so, for those who don't know, Scratch is a really awesome programming language that was developed by MIT, kind of like specifically to help kids understand um, like the logic and problem solving concepts behind computer programming. So anyway, I'm up here. I'm just in a web browser. I'm gonna go to I type in scratch.mit.edu. And it comes up here. So that's the Scratch main page. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right here, the upper left. I'm going to click create and I'll just be off and running. For those who want to like save their work and be able to go back to it, you can create your own account, which is awesome. It's totally free. But this is my like default workspace here. And it's cool. They'll give you some like cool tutorials if you're new. There's a lot of stuff to kind of explore. We can go back to that later, but right now I am going to make a drawing game. So basically, the whole concept behind this is that I want to be able to use my mouse. Whoa, it's big. To actually draw on my screen. So as always with any new Scratch project, I am going to have my Scratch cat. And I'm gonna just delete him. So I'm gonna go over here and press this trash icon. A quick word on the Scratch interface. Over here in this upper right corner is where it's kind of like the shell. It's where your program actually runs, where you can kind of see all your graphics and watch your project play out over here. Down here in the lower right is where the sprites live. The sprites are any character or like basically all the assets to your game or your project. So that's down here. So I don't have any currently. And then right here, it's called the stage. It's like your background, your backdrop. And the only difference between the stage and the sprites, because you can program the stage, the difference is the stage does not have any motion blocks. So a lot of times people will be like, why don't I have any motion blocks? And it's because you're clicked on the stage. So if you're clicked on a sprite, let's say I'm going to add a new sprite. And let me make mine I want to get like a paintbrush. You really can pick anything that you want. Like you can draw with bananas if you want to. It's totally your prerogative. I'm gonna draw. I could draw with cheesy puffs or a chick. It's so cute. Or a crystal. But I want to try maybe to draw with this. I know there's a paintbrush here somewhere. Oh, there's so many good sprites. So this is the Sprite Library, by the way. And it's all of these sort of pre-made characters or assets. Ooh, I'm going to use the wand. We're going to draw with a wand today. How about that? Ooh. We'll make it a magic. We'll make it a magic drawing board. So you can see now the sprite is now in the sprites box. And so if you look over here, these are all of your blocks, and you're gonna stack these together. You're gonna sequence them essentially to build your project. So over here, quick rundown. I have motion blocks, which they're all pretty self-explanatory. They're all blue, and it's anything that has to do with the movement of the sprite. Next is purple, and that's looks. That's anything with the way that the sprite looks. Sounds is self-explanatory. Events are typically at the very top of your code because events trigger all the other actions. Control, that's where we're finding if-else statements, forever loops, repeat loops in general. You can stop your code. So there's a lot of interesting things here that we'll be working with. Sensing is kind of like, it allows the sprite to like take in information and then make a decision. Operations, really anything that has to do with like math or logic. Variables, which I don't think we're really gonna get into today, and then you can build your own block, which essentially is like creating your own method or function. Essentially, it's just packaging a whole bunch of code together into one block. So anywho, let's, first of all, I want to go into my backdrop. I want to go into my stage. Ooh. And I want to make it, like, I want to make the background black because I'm a fan of, like, dark mode here. So I'm going to my paint bucket tool, and I got to pick my color. So you can go here and pick your background color over here in the top left. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill my stage with color. Although now I'm... There we go. So, okay, I clicked this button, bitmap and vector, a couple of different image modes. Anyway, I just converted it to bitmap, and then I just filled in the background. So now it's black, and I have my little wand over here. I have these 3 tabs: code, customize, and sounds. These 3 tabs correspond directly to whatever sprite that you're clicked on. So if I'm clicked on the backdrop, do you notice that my motion blocks go away? That's because the backdrop can't move. But as soon as I click back here on my wand, now I have motion blocks again. So it's pretty cool. So, okay. So the whole thing about creating in Scratch is you have to figure out what you want to do. So first things first, let's break it down. So if I'm going to make a drawing game, I want that sprite to stay with my pointer, like with my mouse. I want it to always forever stay with my mouse. So what I can do is, first things first, with any piece of code that we're doing in Scratch, anything that we're building, we need an event to trigger that action, right? And a lot of events are just going to be triggered at the very start of the game. So in that instance, over here, like my big mouse, when the green flag is clicked, that will be the start of the game. So what I'm going to do is, let's do a little zoom in so everybody can see. Whoa. So I'm going to click, and all I do is just drag a block here. If I don't want it anymore, I just drag it away. So I'm going to drag my first block when the green flag is clicked. That's in events. And I'm going to drag it into the workspace. This is your whole workspace right here in the middle. It's sort of your big blank canvas on which we will create. So what I'm going to do is what this block is saying is upon me starting the game, essentially. So when I start the game, I want my magic wand sprite to follow my mouse forever. So I have 2 blocks that I need. 2. In this orange category, I have what's called a forever loop. And do you see when I drag it out, it like makes this little shadow, like it's about to connect? When you drop it, it will automatically connect. So I'm gonna take that aside for a second though and back up, because I'm jumping around. I want my sprite to go to the mouse. And I have a block right here. It's in motion because that's the category. So I'm going to go to, now you see it first as random position, but you see this little drop down menu. Anytime you have like a little downward arrow, it means you have a drop down menu. So I have a couple of different options available to me, and one of them is go to the mouse pointer. So let's say I just click that and then I try to start the game. Let's see what happens. Oh, see how my sprite jumped up? But it's not following it. So it only did it one time. Just like I programmed it to do. But what if it did it forever? So that's why I go back and I gotta go to control. And that's where all my loops are. So I'm gonna get forever. And then I'm going to slide the go to mouse pointer inside the loop. And then when I click the flag, let's see what happens. Whoa. So my wand is now going to my pointer, which is pretty sweet. One thing I want to just like be a little nitpicky about, and if I want the code to stop, I click the stop sign up here in the top, sort of the top left of my of where my game plays out. So I want the center of the sprite to be like on the tip of my mouse pointer because I really want to draw with my mouse. So I'm going over here and I'm going to go into this middle tab, customize. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the center of this sprite to be, so I want to set the star part of the wand to be in the center. And the way that I do that is I'm gonna move it. Whoops. Well, I thought I knew how to do it. Maybe. So I'm gonna take the entire thing and move it so that the star is in the center. And I can kind of resize it if I need to. But, and all this is kind of subjective. Like, you don't have to do any of this. I'm just being a little bit, like, detail-oriented because I want it to look a certain way. So anyway, so now let me try it again. See how, like, the star is now, like, staying with my mouse? The star part of the wand, that is. So that's what I was hoping to accomplish. Anywho, all right, so what's next? So the whole thing about drawing. Oh, hey, fellow DAE pals. Hi. We're all on the Digital Arts Experience YouTube page, so we're saying hi to each other. So, okay, what's next? We gotta break down this problem. So we already have the sprite like staying with the mouse. So I think that, oh hey Rob, thanks. So now we actually need to like make it so that you draw. So let's go just see. Oh no, did they move the pen tool? Did they get rid of it? Sensing some locks. Oh no. Where's the pen tool? Guys, I lost the pen tool. It's okay. We'll go find it. It's hidden. Oh, I have to unhide it. Help, come help. I need the boss man. Oh, there it is. All right, so it's like an add-on. Gotcha. All right, now we have the pen tool. So did you guys see what I did? I went down here to the lower left. I didn't realize they hid it in the new version of Scratch. I found it. So I just did the thing that I always used to tell my students not to do, which was like to panic uh, when something goes wrong. So I did the classic, oh my gosh, I can't find it, it's not working, something's wrong. But crisis averted. I found the pen tool. But that's really cool that you go down here and you can basically have all of these different add-ons, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. So something's wrong. Yeah. I need help. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is my whole premise of this is I want to be able to, just like if you're drawing in real life, you actually have to put the pen to the paper, right? You have to have contact. And so what we're doing with this is we're like simulating that contact. So I want it to be like when the mouse is clicked, that's when I'm drawing. When I'm not clicked, then I'm not drawing. So I want to be able to like take my pen up and down off the paper, which is essentially what's going on. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to use an if statement. And what an if statement does is it says if something's true, like you basically have two options, true or false. So if something is true, as in if I'm clicked on the mouse, if I'm clicked on the mouse is true, like this is true right now, this is false. Whoops, and I'm clicking around my project. So if it's true, I want the pen down. Else, if it's false, I want the pen up. So the way that I accomplish this is I'm going to go to control, and I get this block that kind of looks like an E. And inside of it, you're going to be able to fit a sensing block, and all the sensing blocks, for the most part, they have this sort of diamond shape to them. So we're going to say if the mouse is down, question mark? There it is. If the mouse is down, question mark. Like, is the mouse down? And then if it is, we are going to put the pen down. But if the mouse is not down, we are taking the pen up, right? Because that's like this whole motion. So if the mouse is down, I'm going to go to my pen. Whoops, that's not pen. This is pen. And we're going to say if the mouse is down, put the pen down. Boom, and if it's right here, else the pen is what? Up. So this if statement is not attached to any control block, and it won't repeat. Two things that it needs to do. So if I were to put like a when clicked, it would only check once and then never happen again. And I don't want that. I want it to just be continually checking if my mouse is down. And if my mouse is down and it registers my mouse down, I want it to put the pen down. But this is like a continuous cycle. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just stick it in this loop so that my number one, and I'm still on my wand, by the way. Number one, it's just going to, the wand is going to go to my mouse forever, and then it's going to check if the mouse is down, and if that's true, then it's going to put the pen down. Else, like if it's not true, the pen's back up. So I've always found it helpful to go into full screen at this point because in the editor, you can actually pick up the sprite, and that's gonna a lot of times it kind of messes up the pen function. So when I go into full screen, I can't do that anymore. So now I'm gonna click the flag. And see, and now I'm holding my mouse, and now I'm drawing with like the default color, which is pretty sweet. Look at me go, wanding around. Ooh. I might be able to do this for hours. This is really fun. But, okay, so, I mean, with just, you could see that just with like a couple of blocks of code, I have now made a drawing game. Whoa. But, like, now what? So, what are some of the other pieces of this game are, I want the drawing board to be able to clear, and I can choose when that happens. So I can choose if I want it to be the flag that clears it, if I want it to be a space key. I get to decide that and then program it. I also want the pen to like maybe change colors or maybe be rainbow. I can make the pen change size so it can like look like it's a big blob, or I can like make it super small, and I can have keys that control that. So let's dive a little bit deeper here, shall we? Anyway, I'm clicking this button in the upper right corner. I'm gonna go back to not full screen. And so you can see some of the different options I have here with the pen tool. I have erase all, stamp, pen down, pen up, set the pen color, change the pen color, and change the pen size. So first things first, if I want to erase everything when the flag is clicked, I can do that. And all I have to do is put erase all under the flag. But I don't want it to constantly erase, so I'm not going to put it in the loop. So I put it right under the flag, outside of the loop. And by the way, if you want to keep your codes kind of separate, that's totally fine. Like this would work. Whoops. This would work. So there's always, I used to tell my students, there's always more than one way. And it's going to be the way that just makes more sense to you. For me, it just makes a little bit more sense to keep the code all kind of in this linear. It's just, I don't know, I find it more like easy to organize when it's all one big block, but you might not, and that's totally fine. So now I just tested it. Oh, and by the way, so as you're building in Scratch, you want to just constantly be testing things. And I think that's true with most programming languages. Like if you do one thing, you should probably test it. You know, I mean, you could build like, you could piece together a lot of code to do a lot of things, but then if one thing doesn't work, then you have to go back and troubleshoot it. So I find it much easier to kind of do things one at a time, test it out, and kind of that way, if I mess up the code in some way, like let's say I accidentally put the erase inside the forever by accident, now it's gonna act squirrely. Like, see? It's all glitchy, which is kind of cool. Like, sometimes it's a little happy accident, but that's not what I'm trying to accomplish. So, I don't want my wand fritzing out over here. So, I'm not obviously going to put the erase all in the loop. I'm going to put it so it happens once and then never happens again. Ooh. All right. Sweet. So, What else did I say I wanted to do? I want rainbow. And the way I can do rainbow is I can have the color keep changing inside of a repeat or forever loop. So, if I want the color to change, I just have a simple block for that. And it's change pen color. Now, one thing to note about this number. So, let's test it out. I'm going to make the space key, I'm going to make the space key trigger this change pen color, right? So I put that on top. When space key pressed, meaning when I touch the space key, I'm going to change the pen color by 10. If you set that number higher, it's going to go through every color in Scratch is assigned to a number. And so it's just going to cycle through those colors at a higher rate, let's say, than if you make this number bigger. So I'm drawing, I hit the space key, now I'm drawing with this color. Every time I hit the space key, I'm drawing with a new color. That's predetermined, like I said, by Scratch assigning every color to a number. So, if I just constantly want to be changing my color, I'm holding the space key, and I can draw rainbowish. Rainbowish, I don't think is a word, but we're just gonna go with it. It is now. So what I want to do is I don't want to hold the space key. I just want it to happen forever when the flag is clicked, that it cycles through all the colors. So what I'm going to do is instead of having the space key, I'm just going to stick it right here in this forever loop. So it's just constantly happening. So just to so I'm not confusing you, these two things are just constantly happening because they're happening inside of the forever loop. And then the if block is checking if the mouse is down and then putting the pen down. So that's what's going on. Like I said, you could give it its own loop. But now I'm really excited because it's rainbow-ish all on its own. All right, so what's the next step? I want to have keys that make it, that make my pen size bigger or smaller. So let's do that next. So if anything that I want to start with a key is going to be here in, events. And so it's not the flag, right? It's actually when a key is pressed. And like I said before, if you have that little downward arrow, it means that you have a menu of options to choose from. So you can basically pick any key on the keyboard to assign a task. So I'm going to pick the up arrow if I want my pen tool to get fatter. And if I want my pen tool to become smaller, then I want to press the down arrow. But first things first, when I press the up arrow, meaning the up arrow on my keyboard, I want my pen to get bigger. So I'm going to go back to the pen tool and I'm going to say change pen size by, not set pen size to, because that sets it once and then never sets it to anything else. So we're going to change pen size by, and then you can adjust this number to basically say how fast you want that to change your pen size. So if I set this, let's just test out what happens when I hit the up arrow. So every time I hit the up arrow, you notice my pen thickness is changing. So if I hold it, it's gonna get bigger. So right now I'm holding the arrow key, the up arrow. And you can actually create some cool like 3D art with this. But now I'm just stuck up here with this giant snake of a pen. So I also want to make a piece of code that when the down arrow key is pressed, I change the pen size. But a little bit of a tricky thing here is what to change the pen size by. And in this instance, if we want to make it smaller, then we're going to change the size by a negative number, because what change actually means is like add. So if we add a negative, then we're actually subtracting. It's a little convoluted, but it makes sense if you think about it. So I'm going to change the pen size by 1 if the up arrow key is pressed. I have the advantage of having a mouse right now, which is very helpful when you're creating. And if I right click, I can just duplicate blocks of code, which is pretty awesome, and then just change their parameters so that they do what I want them to. So I said up arrow key is pressed, change the pen size by 1. When the down arrow key is pressed, I'm changing the pen size by -1. So let's try it out. Whoa. So now I'm pressing the down arrow, and my pen size is slowly changing and making this cone-like thing. That's pretty sweet. And then I can draw till my heart's content. Just look at me go. So, that's pretty cool, right? What else do we want to do you think? Oh, there's a really fun tool called the stamp. And what it does is it makes stamps of whatever sprite that it's on. So we can make magic wand stamps, which is kind of awesome. So what do I want to use as my key to make a stamp? I think I kind of want to use the space key. So I'm just gonna go to events. And I'm going to grab when space key pressed. And remember, I can choose any key on the keyboard if I want to, but I'm going to choose when space key pressed. And then from the pen blocks, I choose stamp. So now let me test it out. Hey, it works. So now I have the ability with this cool drawing game to make some awesome art. So like now I can just draw. And the other awesome part about making your own games is that you get to play them then. You know what I mean? So I just like can have a little bit of fun here, making some rainbow magic wand art. Seriously though, hours of entertainment. And then maybe I make, I'm holding my up arrow. So I made a little dot there. And make it go down a little. It looks like a wizard hat. Hang on. Ooh, my coworker Nick would like this. He loves wizards. See? That's cool. I like that. Oh, let's make a big one. You know what? Okay. So you could take a nice screenshot of this. I don't remember what the key command is for PC, but Shift Command 4 will take a screenshot on your Mac if you're on a Mac. And take a little screenshot, and then well, that kind of looks like the sorting hat from Harry Potter. So if you can take a little screenshot of what you did, and now I'm clearing it, and now I really want to make a big wizard hat. So I'm holding the up arrow. Let's see how big this thing will actually get. It may get to a point where it just takes up the whole screen, and then you're like, well, that's really big. How's that look? That's a pretty good wizard hat. I don't think I'm going to spell this right at all. I'm just going to check how you spell these. Gryffindor. Oh, I already spelled it wrong. Gryffindor. See, the other thing that I have to just point out is that Google is your friend. If you don't know how to do something or spell something, going to Google will make your life easier. I just started typing Gryffindor and then the proper spelling came up. Gryffindor. Now I'm gonna check to see. Actually, I'll just show you. Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff. And I already forgot it. Huffle. Huff with a L-E. Okay. We got this. I'm probably doing them in the wrong order too. Slytherin. Slytherin, and then wait, which house am I missing? Oh, Ravenclaw. Okay, we got one more. We got this. I'm just gonna have to fit it down here. All right, so that's my drawing game. I could take a nice screenshot of it and save it for later. because it won't actually, so Scratch won't actually save what I drew. So if you want to save it, I would take a screenshot of it. And if you don't want to save it, that's cool too. You can save your project if you made yourself a Scratch account. And I can actually go through that real quick. But that's my code. See how easy that was? There's like really not that many blocks, and you can create this really cool thing, which is awesome. So if you want to make your own account, you're going to go to the upper, actually, we're going to go start at the beginning. We're going to scratch.mit.edu. And we're going to go to the upper right corner and not sign in, but we're going to join Scratch. When you create an account, that's when you'll hit sign in. So you create a username, password. It's just going to prompt you for a little bit of information. You are going to have to give an email address. And then once you finish answering all the prompts, you're going to get an email that asks you to verify your account. And so when you go into your email, you just have to click verify. And then you'll pretty much be good to go. If, like, they need an email so that if you do any password resets, you can subscribe, I think, to get notifications from Scratch. You don't have to, but it's cool. And then you can just save everything into your account. So now if I go to the home page and I click sign in, then now I can go here to the folder, and that's where all my projects are saved. So I have quite a bit. So anyway, that's it. That's how we make a drawing game with a pen tool in Scratch. And if you guys want to learn more, definitely check out the other videos that are in the playlist. There's a lot. Evan made a really cool platformer game the other day, and Rob's been doing some Python, some Tinkercad. So we're gonna keep with the projects. We also have a bunch of cool online classes coming out pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. You can always feel free to visit our website, thedae.com, for all that info and to see what else is going on. So we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.